All right, here we go. 5:30 in the morning. Woo. All right, thanks for joining me. This is the Artistic Biker Coffee and Sketching and Coffee live stream in the morning, where we take one of these little toys. I have about 300. Actually, I think I have 400 of them now. Little capsules full of a random toy. Today's random toy is a toy ferret, and so we will do that today. We just do a sketch while we talk about things. How is the music? Is the music too loud? Let me know in the comments if the music's too loud or not loud enough. Make sure that the camera is rotating, because I think that helps. Okay. Alrighty then. We got another 50-degree morning. It's supposed to be in the 50s every morning this week and in the 80s every afternoon. So we wake up with our heaters going, go to bed with our air conditioners on. Do a little composition here, make sure we can get the whole image on the paper where we want it. Without running out of paper. So I think it's interesting that I have a ferret toy, considering a ferret tried to kill my daughter once. Hi, Becca. 3:36 and you haven't gone to bed. I was young once. I was young once. Why are you up until 3:36? I mean, you do you, boo. But I was in bed by 10. She got a desk she wants to put, and she spent the whole evening, the whole night, fantasizing about how she's going to put the desk in the room, calculating how it's going to fit in one spot or another. I think we can all relate. We've all been obsessed with stuff like that at some time or another. Moving a little beyond the composition stage here. I'm starting to fill in some detail shapes. My daughter had a pet ferret. She was driving. Thing started running wild around her inside of her car, caused her to wreck her car. Rat tried to kill her. All I can think about looking at this thing. But I'm looking, right now I'm looking at this face of this rat. I'm trying to figure out what separates. I know when I look at this thing that it's a ferret. What makes it a ferret, not a cat, when I look at it? What makes it, what are the differences that make it not a cat? Because it's got a very cat-like face. It's got that long, sleek neck, though. And he's wearing a bandana. So when I look at this kind of stuff, that's what I'm looking for, is I'm trying to figure out what makes it not a cat. Becca's got sleeping issues. I've been there. I've had them nights where you just really want to fall asleep and you just, everything's just going through your mind all the time. Just can't stop thinking. For me, it's like puzzles. I get an idea about a puzzle. Last night, for instance, my puzzle was setting this up. I actually stayed up right up until 10 thinking, what can I do to make this where you guys can have the, and I know this is silly, but I wanted you guys to have the reference photo in case you wanted to draw along with me. And I was like, well, how can I do that? I think I got it worked out, though. I put a link to the reference photo in the chat, pinned it in the chat. Let me know if that works, because I think that's pretty neat if it works out, because I'd like to see some of y'all try it. I saw Ivy sent me her easel where she drew the fire truck, which is really cool because Ivy's had a hand injury and made it difficult for her that makes it difficult for her to hold a pencil right now. Becca says I'm adorable. Thanks, Becca. She said I earned a subscriber. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, if you guys want to draw along, I have posted the reference photo on my YouTube community page, and I'm probably going to include them in my newsletter. edge of this tail is darker on the cat side, or on the ferret side, I should say. It's so easy just to get caught up in the details so fast. This is the equivalent of picking up your little brush. If you paint at all, you know that once you pick up your detail brush, you're almost done painting. And you have to be careful not to pick your detail brush up too soon, because you'll finish the part of the painting you wanted to do that interested you in the first place. And the whole rest of the painting you'll just be filling in the numbers. So going into the details, shadows and stuff too soon with your pencil is the equivalent of that. Ferret looks mean. But I'm looking at the doll. The toy actually looks mean. It looks like he's ready to eat your face off. I remember him having little cute, adorable faces. Alright. I think we're doing pretty good on time here. I do think we need to stop and clean up some lines. Yay! Becca says the photo works. Good. Thank you. See, I try that stuff and it works for me. I think that head needs to be just a little broader. I try that stuff and it works for me, but I never know if it's going to work for... I never know if it's going to work for you guys until somebody tries it and says, hey, it does or it doesn't. I've got some stray and smudged lines in there that are confusing. I'm going to go through and pick those off real quick. Five. 5:48. We're doing good. We're okay on time. Yesterday I pushed it right up till I had to leave for work. And of course that's when the dogs have to go out. all shadow over here. Ah! Drop your pencil, make a whole bunch of stray marks. That's not good. This shadow, in my vision, this shadow is lost. This edge is lost right here, but I don't want this edge lost. So I'm going to put a contact shadow right there that's not really in the image. Just because I don't want to lose that edge. This thing is covered in hair. This is not that humpy. That hump shouldn't be there. Oh, I'm a shuttle driver. I work for a local automotive repair shop, and I run this shuttle. It's a pretty cool job. I get to meet new people about every 20 minutes. Tell the same jokes all day long. Everybody laughs. Occasionally they let me take my motorcycle to go pick up parts, which is an awesome day when that happens. These hair shadows are more prominent when you get further away from the light. Can't talk, Artie. Alright, let's put some. See what that should be. Yeah, I think that's a little more accurate. That foot should be a little closer, but all right. Becca says it's fascinating to see a mechanic type also be an artist. Yeah, I was a welder for years. When we first started doing the artistic biker podcast, webcast, whatever, I was still a welder. And I had all kinds of stories about what it was like to be in that environment. And my friends and what they were up to. And that was in a small town in Oklahoma. Where weirdness was not so embraced. But I get here and it's like, hey, I'm going to go draw naked people. Like, for instance, in my little small town, you're drawing naked people? That's crazy. I can't believe you go draw naked people. Not dumb. I mean, I'm just making them sound goofy, but they weren't really goofy or anything like that. But that was kind of the attitude. I can't believe you're going to draw naked people. And here I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go do some figure drawing. I'm going to go draw some naked people. And I'm like, oh yeah, they do that over the Archway Gallery. They do that here. Here's five other places you could go do that if you'd like. But you know, there's 6 million people here. There were 17,000 people there. So. And the beauty of the town with 17,000 people is I knew most of them. Still know many of them. Love a whole bunch of them. It's a little harder to do in a town with 6 million. I am only going one direction. It looks like I'm scribbling, but I'm only going one direction. At this stage, I'm just trying to get some marks on the paper. You have more control if you can just make them go in one direction. And if I overlap right here, it'll darken that shadow on the ferret, the form shadow on the ferret, so that it still keeps its distinction from the cast shadow on the paper. That I'm going a little circles over there, so I am scumbling a little bit, and the reason is because I have the shadow and then I have reflected light. There's a light back here that's bouncing up on the back of the ferret, and it's making a reflected light. I don't know how well you can see in the shadow here, but right there in that shadow is lighter than the rest of the shadow. That is the reflected light coming off the ferret. feel like this is dark enough. You got to really get in there and push the dark sometimes. But I think we're pretty close there. I think that, okay, the only other thing I need to make sure is the ferret is not white, so I need to separate him from the paper. And his bandana is red, and he is a darker gray. So especially around his neck there, I'm going to make sure that he is darker than the bandana. But if I'm going to darken him in, then I also have to darken the shadow in. Alright, but we do have some stray lines to clean up, so let's get those stray lines cleaned up. She lives in the suburbs, Becca lives in the suburbs of Los Angeles, where nobody knows anybody. Yeah, I graduated from a high school with 42 people. And that's not even the smallest school in the area. I had a really good friend who's a former manager of mine. Went to a high school in Oklahoma called Lone Wolf. His graduating class was seven people. We're talking in the 90s. Graduated high school in the 90s, in the 80s. I guess he's older than me, so it would have been the 80s. I graduated high school in 89, so he would have graduated like 87, 80, 86, somewhere around in there, with 7 people in his graduating class in a public school. This is a public school, western Oklahoma, southwestern Oklahoma. But yeah, I have 42 people in my graduating class. I think my youngest daughter recently graduated with about 2,400. I'm struggling with that face because I don't think it's quite, that shadow rather, because I don't think it's quite. I think that's more. Can't talk, Artie. I was struggling with that face or that face, the shadow of that face, because it wasn't tall enough. But I think I've moved. I don't think it's where it was. I don't think I'm sitting where I originally started. So I think it moved. I think I changed my perspective on the shadow. I'm going to go in and lighten up some of this cheek here. Somebody asked me, somebody was watching my stream over my shoulder at work, and they were like, what is that you're kneading? Is that clay? What is that? It's a kneaded eraser. And I'm just using it like a rubber, like a regular eraser. Because with this 4B pencil, it doesn't take much to pick up the graphite. See what this lets us go in. Make sure we have highlights everywhere we want highlights. Alright, I could sit here and nitpick this all day, but it's a sketch. Hi, Abby! Something similar to the kneaded eraser, or... Ivy says they have her using something similar in physical therapy. I got your easel this morning. Okay, yeah. I'm calling it. He says, I'm calling it, and then proceeds to go back in and add more shading and detail. Make up your mind, man. Are you calling it or not? I don't want to lose this edge. I don't want to draw this edge, but I don't want to lose it either. I want that edge just to be formed. Okay, but I'm calling it. I'm done. What is today? She said last week she couldn't even hold a pencil. Had a nice time last night just doing so she's doing she drew the fire truck. She's drawing along with this, and she drew the fire truck. And she's barely able to hold a pencil, so it's part of her physical therapy. Now I got to figure out where in my glasses I can look to see the date. Today is the 9th. So I'm calling that. All right. Blah. Yeah. That's exactly what happened. I moved around and changed my perspective on that shadow too many times. It'll be alright. But this is what we end up with. And you can see it's not too far off, but you can see what's happened is I've moved around. This leg should be closer. I mean, we could critique it all we want to, but I think it turned out all right for what we've got going on here. So that's what we have. I'll show you real quick Ivy's fire truck. And like I said, considering Ivy couldn't hold a pencil last week, if I get it in focus, I'll see if I can't upload it to the community post. It'll certainly go in the newsletter. But you can see Ivy's able to hold a pencil a little better. She still has a hole in her finger there from her injury, though. But I mean, that's pretty good for somebody in physical therapy, right? That's her drawing hand. So I'm proud of you, Ivy. Good job. And she's working off the cruddy little photo I provided, so that's even better. So let's do that. This is the part where I do the thumbnail. Some of this stuff I have to do because if I stop the stream right now while I'm done, just because I'm done, it'll stop broadcasting and you won't see the end. So some of this is dragging out just because I'm trying to make sure the whole video makes it online. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. There's my mom. Hi, Mom. I really appreciate you guys coming. We'll do it again tomorrow, and you guys have a fantastic day.